Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Tri-Delta podcast. I'm Meredith Davies from our Delta Side chapter at Rhodes College, and I serve Tri-Delta on the brand advancement team as brand support manager partnerships, which is a fancy way of saying I manage our partnership with St. Jude, other outside partners like Perpetual Napa Valley and Shop Tri-Delta, and also work on collaborative brand partnerships. Previously, I served Tri-Delta as development manager, and in that role, I supported the work of Tri-Delta's foundation, fundraising primarily through our young alumni and collegiate members, and I also managed Tri-Delta's scholarship program. That was the best. That's why I'm so passionate about philanthropy and Tri-Delta's foundation. So, do you know what's coming up next week, November 11th? It's Tri-Delta's Day of Giving. That's right, best day of the year. Lisa and I are both really excited. It's the one day a year Tri-Deltas come together to support Tri-Delta's foundation, which funds the important work we do, helping our sisters in every possible way. That includes emergency financial assistance, scholarships, and transformational programming. And we're so proud of the work that we're able to do, and that's all because of the donors who support us on Day of Giving and throughout the year. So on today's podcast, I'm excited to welcome Lisa Diskin from our Phi Alpha chapter at the University of Toledo. Lisa has a super fun new Tri-Delta volunteer role. She'll be serving as our Day of Giving volunteer coordinator. It's a brand new role. She will help lead hundreds of ambassadors on Day of Giving to help them spread the word and inspire others to give. And truly, there is no one better suited for this role than Lisa Diskin. So please welcome Lisa. Lisa, say hello.
Hi everyone. Meredith, you are so kind. Thank you for that lovely introduction. Made me feel like I was like a superstar, Mary Catherine Gallagher. Loved it. I am so excited about this volunteer role that Beth Burks called and asked me if I would be interested in. So lovely that they even would recognize me in that way. I've had lots of volunteer roles with Tri-Delta. Most recently, I was the alumni chapter coordinator for Region 6. I seem to have spent most of my volunteering career, which would be after college, I've spent it on the alumni side of the house. Not that there is a single thing wrong with the collegiate side, not one single bit. I just have managed to stay very involved with our active alumni chapters and members and that kind of thing. So, but I'm super excited about Day of Giving. Greatest day ever. I mean, just ever. I sit there on social media, oh my gosh, all day long for the last 3 or 4 years, just, watching the total go up and, making graphics with hearts and all the things. It's all the things. It's so much fun.
So much fun. I sit there,
so much fun.
refresh all day long.
That's all I did all day long. Refresh.
It only refreshes once a minute. I learned that last year. And that's how bad it was. That's how often I
know.
was.
It didn't stop me from refreshing though every 12 seconds.
Correct. Right. Yeah. And I mean, just getting the opportunity to thank your friends and watch those gifts come in.
Wonderful.
So meaningful to inspire someone to give and then be able to thank them as well. Day of Giving is just the best.
It is.
So
undoubtedly.
So Lisa, I want to go all the way back to the beginning. I want everybody to have a chance to get to know you. So let's talk about your Tri-Delta experience. Why Toledo and what drew you to Tri-Delta?
Well, funny you should ask. I was born and raised in Toledo, Ohio. Great town right in the northeast part of the state, 30 minutes or 45 minutes away from Michigan. We even have family in Michigan, so we would travel back and forth. So I am one of 4. My older brother, who is 5 years older, when he went away to college, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I want to be just like him. I want to go to the school he went to. He went to Ohio Northern. And he had a very fun time his first year, quite an expensive first year, and ended up graduating from Bowling Green State University, which is just down the road from Toledo. But his experience pushed my mom and dad into the philosophy that we needed to stay closer to home to prove ourselves. And if we did and got good grades, etc., that then they would send us anywhere we wanted to go. So funny enough, we used to call the University of Toledo, we used to call it Bancroft High because it sits on Bancroft Avenue. And a lot of us considered it just sort of an extension of high school, even though it was not. And I mean, the university has been around for a very long time. We have a law school and a medical school, and I mean, just a fabulous university. A lot of it is a commuter sort of school. So a lot of us didn't live on campus. A lot of us did, but a lot of it, like, we didn't live on campus. My brother and I, we lived at home and then we commuted. My mom and dad decided to pick up the family in 1986, which was only my second year in school. They moved to Vegas, which is where my whole nuclear family is now. But my younger brother and I, Alan, we stayed behind and we finished at the University of Toledo. Great experience. I mean, just top to bottom, front to back. It was just an incredible experience. The way that I stayed at UT, so we had summer orientation before school started in August. My orientation advisor was a beautiful woman by the name of Gretchen Gotthard. I think probably the single greatest Tri Delta next to Sarah Ida Shaw that's ever lived, in my opinion. Gretchen was my orientation advisor, so I got to know her. Of course, I had no. She said she was Greek, had no idea what organization. Didn't even really know anything about being Greek because nobody in my family was. So I had no experience going in. I had no preconceived ideas. But being very active in high school, I thought, okay, I'll try this sorority rush thing. I don't know if it's for me. Whatever. Went to my first couple of parties and saw Gretchen. Found out that she was a Tri Delta. Realized very early on that not only did I love her, but loved all the girls in the house, felt immediately at home. Even though I was down to 3 houses at the end, I remember our advisor saying, do not suicide. Whatever you do, do not just write down one organization. You better write down 3, because I'm telling you, if they don't select you, if you select them, but they don't select you, you'll have nothing. And I thought to myself, if Tri Delta doesn't want me, then I don't want anybody else. I love everybody else. And they're wonderful, but for me, it was Tri Delta or nothing. That's what Lisa wrote down on her bid card. And come bid day, the following day, when I opened up that bid and it said Tri Delta, I can't even tell you how exciting a time that was for me. It was far and away anything. There was just nothing in my life to that point in 18 years that could match the excitement that I had on bid day. Nothing.
I love that so much.
Not a single.
There are so many things. I think about this a lot, and I think people probably think this is cheesy. There are so many things that I think Sarah Ida Shaw is orchestrating. Like, before we
100%.
even know that she's working in our lives, she's working in our lives.
100%.
And your orientation leader being a Tri Delta, that was Sarah. Like, we can't do these things. I love it. It makes me so happy.
And what did I turn around doing? I ended up being an orientation advisor for the 4 years that I could be an orientation advisor. I was in school longer than that, but it was just such a great opportunity to meet girls, to meet incoming freshmen, to sort of spread her influence abroad, if you know what I mean. So it was great all the way around. I can't say enough about my collegiate days. It was just an incredible time in my life.
I don't know. I miss college. It is truly the best time.
It is. And it was gone in a blink.
I know. But I know there was a time in your Tri Delta experience where you sort of lost your way. Things weren't going well in school. What was going on? What was your turning point? Tell us about this letter.
So I'll tell you about the letter in a second, but did you know, Meredith, fun fact, did you know that of all the colleges and universities in the entire United States, I'm only going to narrow it down to the United States. Did you know that not a single one offers, wait for it, Tri Delta as a major? Did you know that?
Unfortunately, I do know that. It's been a problem for some.
I wish that my advisor, my academic advisor, had said, "Well, of course, Tri Delta is a major. Of course, you can major in Tri Delta." Because what was Lisa doing? Majoring in Tri Delta. There was nothing that got past me, and I don't even mean like going to parties and I mean, we did all those things, but that isn't even what I mean. It didn't matter what it was. Didn't matter what the event, what the cause, it didn't matter. Lisa was there. I was large and in charge. I was pledge class president. Loved it. Just couldn't get enough. It was truly why I thought I was put on the planet, was to represent Tri Delta. So here I am, I'm sort of going along, and back at that time, because I'm way older than you, Meredith, and probably way older than a lot of people that are going to watch this. But at the time that I was in the chapter, we believed wholeheartedly, and they told us that the office would seek the girl and not the other way around. So you couldn't stand there with your banner and say, "Hey, I am wanting to be I am large and in charge here, and I'm trying to be a whatever."
Make me the
They
president. I want the job. Yeah,
they
no.
they didn't allow you to do that. Rather, we had each class, freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. I think seniors must have done it too. Maybe it was sophomore, junior, senior. They got together. They created a slate of officers. It was presented to one group that then went through them all and then came up with a slate. We presented it at our meeting. We voted on it, and then those people would take over in the office in which they were given. Twice in my college career, and let me just say that the University of Toledo at the time was on quarters. So we had 4 quarters in the year. You had to make grades fall quarter in order to go active in January, which I did. But then, in order to be eligible for an office, you had to make grades. I think it must have been by fall quarter. So, my first year in school, I made grades. I got an office. I was, I think, in charge of our apartment. We didn't have houses at the time. So, we had a suite in an apartment building. Each of our sororities had a suite. So, I was in charge of keeping it clean and, making it presentable and all those things. And I got the chapter involved, and I made these little cute little punch cards. And if you did something, really great at the apartment, I did a little punch, whatever. I was all crafty at the time as well. Come time for the next round of slating, which would have been late into my sophomore year, going into my junior year, I didn't make grades. So I was put on academic probation and I was ineligible for an office. And I thought, okay, well, I really need to buckle down here. I am not majoring in Tri Delta. I am majoring in communication. I need to really buckle down. Come time for slating my junior year, which would have been going into then my senior year, to have an office in my senior year, I did not make grades. So twice in a row, I didn't make grades. After I was apartment chairman, I never held another office while I was a Phi Alpha at the University of Toledo. It crushed me. I mean, it just absolutely crushed me because at the time I was so pompous. I thought, well, there is nobody else that could be president other than me, since I was pledge class president and I was rah rah Tri Delta. I was majoring in Tri Delta. Much to my father's chagrin. And so all of a sudden, I wasn't sure the direction that I was supposed to be going. Academically, I was supposed to be studying and doing all the things, but socially and in every other corner of my life, all I wanted to do was Tri Delta, morning until night. And now all of a sudden, Tri Delta said, wait a minute, you're supposed to be here to be going to school. You're supposed to be getting grades, good grades, because that's why you're here. That's why you're in college. And I wasn't doing that. I wasn't meeting the mark. I wasn't meeting the standard. I was put on probation, academic probation twice, kept me from holding an office. I grew bitter. I was angry at everybody but the person that I should be angry with, who. And I thought the heck with it. And I stopped paying dues. I stopped going to meeting. I stopped going to meetings. We had chapter meetings on Sunday nights, stopped going to meetings, stopped paying dues. So in my senior year, not only did I not go through circle degree because I did not graduate in May of my senior year like I should have, I was so far behind that it took me an entire another year and a quarter to finish college. So I didn't go through circle degree. Missed all of the pivotal things that you would experience in your junior and senior years when you're in college, because I was mad. I was mad at Tri Delta. Tri Delta did me wrong. Little did I know. So I stopped paying dues. Went about my life. Stopped hanging out with the girls. Buckled down. Ended up getting my BA in communication. Graduated in December of 1989, so a year and a quarter later than my peers. And about a month after graduation, I don't even know what made me think of it, but I can tell you that it must have been my conscience, or maybe Sarah Ida was tapping me on my shoulder saying, hello, you made a commitment. So I pulled out my checkbook. I think I had $200 in my account. And I thought, okay, I know it's going to do nothing except in my own mind, satisfy my own mind that I will have paid my due. I will have paid my dues and what I owed to Tri Delta, and that would be that. I figured, Tri Delta didn't want me anymore because I was a jerk and I let Tri Delta go. I let Tri Delta down. I let Tri Delta go. It was bad all the way around. I wrote the check for $122.50 and I sent it to whatever alumna was in charge of girls that have graduated, all the money side of things, not in the chapter, but the advisor, the financial advisor. And then lo and behold, on March the 17th, and I wasn't expecting anything. But on March the 17th, which was St. Patrick's Day, I got a letter in the mail. And if you'll indulge me, I'm going to stand up like Vanna White and I'm going to walk over to my wall and I'm going to get the letter because I finally framed it. Meredith, I literally carried this letter around with me for 10 years, folded, unfolded it. I then made color copies of it. This is a copy of the letter, okay? And I'm going to read it. I am going to put my glasses on so that I can read it without, too much difficulty. It says, and it's dated March 17th, 1989. Your financial assistant, Miss George, has notified us that your debt of $122.50 to Phi Alpha chapter has been paid in full. We are pleased to tell you that, effective today, Tri Delta's records have been changed and reflect your membership is in good standing. We hope that you continue to enjoy your lifetime membership in Delta Delta Delta. Loyally, Louise D. Smith. And I always had a dream that at some point in my life, I would find or seek out Louise D. Smith and hug her for having signed that letter. But that letter, excuse me, that letter changed the trajectory of my life in ways that I can't even explain. It finally occurred to me as a sort of young adult that Tri Delta wasn't throwing me away. I threw Tri Delta away. In my haste as a young person who sort of didn't have a focus where she should have had it, allowed pride to get in the way of commitment. And it literally almost cost me the single greatest thing next to the birth of my daughter that has really ever happened, which is membership in Tri Delta in our organization. Greatest thing really truly that's ever happened. I literally carried that letter around folded in my purse. I then, once I got a job, I would stick it in my portfolio. I pulled it out often. I didn't want it to get ruined, so I made color copies and only carried those around. And finally, after 25 or so years, I finally said, I'm going to frame it, and it's going on my wall as a constant reminder that of the power of a second chance, because that's really what that letter is. It's a second chance. And I've never, I hope that I have never squandered it since. So when I say that I love our fraternity, I love our fraternity. You could cut me in half. This side bleeds Tri Delta, and so does this side. So that's the story of the letter. And that's why I'm so passionate about giving back, about the foundation, about everything that Tri Delta has given to me. And for our young collegians, and some of them may even be watching this tonight, you don't even realize what a lifetime membership, what a lifetime of a perpetual bond of friendship really means. I'm going to be 60 next month, and I can't even tell you the power that it has had in my life, the amount of women, sisters that I have met that have changed who I am as a person for the better. And so that was sort of the turning point in my life, Meredith. And thank God for Louise D. Smith and
Yes.
Miss George, who got the check
Yes.
and cashed it.
This is such a valuable lesson, I think, for our members. I mean, honestly, Lisa, my collegiate experience was very similar to yours. Time and time again, I didn't get slated, and who was I not thinking about? Maybe the person that I was presenting as to my sisters that who thought that I was not suited for an officer position.
Right.
And I felt the same way. I had very negative feelings about Tri Delta and shifted my mindset. And here I am in my late 20s working for Tri Delta. I've been a Tri Delta volunteer. It's if it's
Doing
not
great and
happening,
amazing things.
don't. If it's
And I
not
guarantee
happening, reflect within. Don't let Tri Delta go. Tri Delta is going to be
100%.
there for you, and it's so much more than what happens in those 4 years. And you
So
are
much more.
living proof of that. I want to talk about why you said yes to this volunteer role, because we're sort of getting into your why. So
Right.
tell us about
So
this philanthropy stuff.
I have always loved philanthropy. I think I've always been a natural salesman, even though I don't sell things for a living. I'm not, I'm not a pharmaceutical rep. I don't sell car parts. I mean, I don't. However, what I do have is an innate ability to connect with people that I have always had my whole entire life. People are drawn to me. I don't know why, they just are. I think it's a God given gift that, God said to me, look, you need to really, act a certain way because people are going to be drawn to you and what you say will affect them. Um, I have held a number of roles within Tri Delta, but far and away, my favorite of all of them, I was amongst the very first philanthropy specialists that we had. And it was our job to help alumni chapters with philanthropy. And at the time, and this was several years ago, it was very, very rooted in, what can we do to raise money for St. Jude? Because that is our national partnership since 1999. It's a wonderful partnership. We have raised scads of money for St. Jude. And personally, I have our alumni chapter here in Fredericksburg, which is where I am. We've raised a lot of money for St. Jude. But then it really came to me that our foundation is we are helping our own sisters. And if we don't give to ourselves first, then we really can't help anybody else. We have to help us first. So when Beth Burks called, and actually she didn't call, she emailed me and then we talked afterward. When she offered me this Day of Giving volunteer coordinator position, I thought, I'm in hook, line, and sinker. Heck yeah. I've been an ambassador every year that they've had ambassadors, which I think is 3 or 4 years. The one thing that I have learned in my life, and again, I think I said just a minute ago, I am going to be 60 next month. The one thing that I've learned is that people will give if they believe in you. They'll give to what you believe in because they believe in you. I have a natural ability to convey my love for whatever it is that I'm trying to impart to somebody I can never sell anything that I don't believe in, and so that's why I am wholeheartedly on board with supporting our foundation, because it helps our sisters, sisters helping sisters. There isn't anything better or more powerful, and to rally people around that mission, bonus, bonus. I'm so grateful that Beth called me. So grateful.
I'm grateful that Beth called
Oh
you.
my gosh, love Beth.
What would you say? I know. Okay, Beth Burks,
Love
the
her.
queen of the foundation, queen of fundraising, incredibly smart,
She is.
incredibly mission driven. I love her so much. She's been such a great
too.
mentor to me as a young professional. Oh, I feel on. I can have a podcast just about how much I
too.
love Beth Burks.
Me too.
I want to know what your advice would be to a Tri Delta who's considering maybe making their first gift ever to the foundation. What are your words of wisdom? Why should they give? Inspire them.
So, if you think back to your collegiate days, and if they were just a year ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago, or almost 50 years ago in my case, think about that one sister that changed the way that you looked at the world. For me, her name was Gretchen Gotthard. Once she got married, it was Gretchen Gotthard Skeldon. But Gretchen was incredible. And because of her, as I said earlier, it changed my life. It changed who I would become. So think about that person, that sister that changed things for you. Who is that sister? Maybe you'd like to either honor her or remember her with a gift to our foundation. Maybe it was the relationship you had with your little sister or your big sister, or another officer that you served with. There is a reason why at this point in your life that you are still involved with Tri Delta, and it might just be time to consider giving back. And by giving back, I don't mean that our foundation is some mythical thing that we don't ever, it's like some big brick building over there that nobody ever sees, or it's like a thing. It's not. It's a living, breathing embodiment of who we are as Tri Deltas. And to support that is supporting our fraternity in ways that you may not even realize. Not only is it emergency assistance for sisters in dire need, dire straits, it's transformational programming. If you've ever been to convention or VLC, our volunteer leadership conference, most of the programming is paid through the foundation. It is who we are at our very core, and it is who we are that Sarah Ida Shaw thought about, and Eleanor, when they formed our fraternity. We have to be able to support ourselves into perpetuity, and the only way to do that is to endow our foundation. Any gift, big or small, it's all welcome. It's all desperately needed, and it will not, don't think of it as being a drop in the bucket or anything. We need all of those donations to be able to sustain us in the future. Danny Thomas said it best. He said that he would rather have 1 million people give $1 than one person giving $1 million. And the reason he said that is because those 1 million people that gave $1 are going to be invested in the mission of St. Jude. So all the people, all of our sisters, and even people that aren't Tri Deltas, that are husbands of Tri Deltas and friends of Tri Deltas, anybody who gives is making a tangible difference. So don't think that your X amount of a donation, whatever it is that you can give, is not going to be the best part of your day on the day that you give, because I'm telling you that for our foundation, they're going to take that money, they're going to let it grow, and they're going to use it to help our sisters in every possible way. I can't say enough. I don't have enough hours in the day to tell you how great our foundation is and why we need to make sure that it's around for hundreds of years, long after us.
Yes. I like to remind people or ask them to think about their greatest day in Tri Delta, their greatest Tri Delta
Absolutely.
memory, wherever that is in your Tri Delta journey. Maybe it was in college, maybe it was Bid Day, maybe it was after you graduated when you got a letter in the mail from Tri Delta.
Never know.
Supporting Tri Delta's foundation ensures that our sisters all get to have that best day in Tri Delta, because you never
Absolutely.
know what roadblock's going to prevent them from getting there. They might need a
100%.
scholarship to stay in school. They might lose their car in some crazy way. Crazy things happen in the universe. And if Tri Delta's foundation weren't there to support them in those moments, they might not be able to continue to be a member. So we're allowing everybody to have their best days in Tri Delta by investing in the foundation. Because sometimes the big stuff feels not as personal. The transformational programming, these are big words that we use, but
Right.
really we're making sure that our sisters have every opportunity to stay in our organization and flourish into wonderful people with Tri Delta in their hearts. So
I mean, just a few years ago, we saw our foundation come to the rescue of how many collegians that were actually in college during COVID when all of a sudden they were told, hello, pack because you're going home. Now, how are some of these young women going to get home? Let's say home is across the country. Our foundation was there. Our foundation provided airline tickets and bus tickets and train tickets and, assistance for those sisters to get home. And had we not had a foundation, yeah, there probably was some rich alumnus somewhere that they could have tapped for it, but we didn't have to because we have a foundation, and that's why it's there. It's there when you need it. Even when you don't think you'll need it, that's why it's there. And that's why it's important for all of us to give. Give as much as you can give, because just know that whatever it is that you do give, it is going to be used in the best possible way. Remember, it's a living, breathing thing. It's not something over here up on a hill that, is surrounded by moss because it's been around for 170,000 years and we've got 800 billion in, endowments. That isn't us. I hope someday it is. But it's going to take all of us making a concerted effort to give today so that we will be around up on the hill. Hopefully not with moss growing around it, maybe pansies. I'd like to see some pansies around that building, that foundation building. I'm just saying.
I think I don't even want to say anything else. I think that is such an inspiring message for our sisters to think about as they prepare for Day of Giving and
Absolutely.
Open their hearts to generosity in the holiday season. So we're leaving it there. Mic drop. Lisa Diskin says, give to Tri Delta's foundation.
Give to Tri Delta.
Yeah. Lisa, I can't thank you enough for sharing
Meredith,
your
thank you.
story.
It has been the best possible way to spend 30 minutes with you, with our sisters that are watching. And I'm telling you, if you have not seen it, you need to be on any social media platform. And I'm telling you, watching it scroll and it is fabulous. I'm telling you, you're going to be standing up there with some pom-poms going, go Tri Delta, go Tri Delta. I promise you.
Yep. And you can, when you see us hit the goal, everyone can know that I'm crying on the other side of the computer as I do every year when we hit our goal.
And by the way, our goal this year is $250,000. We hit about 230 last year. Mm-hmm. We need about 200. Our goal is 250,000, and I know that we can do it. The link will go live on November 4th, the day that this airs, and it's never too early to make a donation or 2 or 10. Just saying.
Yep. Visit tridelta.org/foundation/Day of Giving. Maybe it'll just pop up right when you get to the website like magic. Who knows?
Think it might.
It'll be all over social media. You won't be able to miss it. Follow along on social media on Day of Giving for lots of videos, updates, special announcements throughout the day, and we'll be sending lots of emails. It's the one day a year we really do blow up your phone. We can't help it. We're just really passionate, and we hope that you will all be a part of our Day of Giving celebration.
Absolutely. And to my Phi Alpha sisters, we need to hear from you. Come on, Toledo, let's go.
You heard it, people. Do what Lisa says. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Meredith.
Oh my gosh, of course. This has been so fun. We have so much to talk about. I need to keep talking to you next time we see each other. We have, I think, a lot more in common than I realized. These podcasts are always so fun. Please like, subscribe, and rate our podcast. We love 5-star ratings. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, Lisa and I are sending all of our Delta love. Goodbye.